Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Four Poster Bed. I haven't been here for a very long time. Look, I have been here. Yes, Romeo's here too. Yes, darling, Mummy loves you. Yes, she does. I've been sort of AWOL, and the reason I've been AWOL a bit is because my cat's too clingy. No, that's not the reason. It's because I paid for ChatGPT, the assistant version, right? Which was, I think, it's about £20 a month, I think. Or is it £20 a week? No, I can't remember. No, I wouldn't have paid that much. It's £20 a month, okay? And it's I've lost the will to live with it. It's exactly like all of my ex-husbands put together and magnified by 20. It's got to have the last word. So they've trained it to always offer more. So it does something and it offers more. And you think, oh, well, if it's offering and it's cleverer than a human, it must be really good. So I spent a month building a WordPress website, which I ended up just loathing because every time the ChatGPT gave me a piece of CSS, which is a bit of code, right, which you put in the main sort of code area. And it, basically, if you want a glowy button, I was using lots of glowy buttons. Instead of having to do a glowy button each time you did a post or each time you put up an item of clothing or whatever, it would change all buttons on the site and make them all pulsing. But it always went all the way around the houses to get to point A. And then you discover you're not at point A, actually, after all, but you discover this 3 days later, you're at point C. And the whole process has been a real eye-opener. I'm going to cancel my subscription because, it's not about the money at all, because I think that's quite affordable. It's about the waste of money or the waste of time, the waste of effort, if you like. So what I've discovered over the past month, 6 weeks, actually, is that we're way clever. We're way more clever than AI. Humans know what to remember. They understand progress. They understand creativity. All of these things. This machine, this AI that everyone's, proclaiming to be the revolution in human thought, I just think it's rubbish. And it's not going to get any better. I absolutely do not believe it's going to get any better. So it took me down a coding path. So I've been on a bit of a crash course about coding. And it's a bit like I imagine that my mum, if she ever got Alzheimer's, she would be like this AI. It forgets really important stuff. Like what, I told it I was trashing my WordPress, but it can't seem to remember that. So it keeps giving me stuff to put in my WordPress still. That's just one example, but I mean, there are loads of others. It would do me a glowy button and I'd put it in my blog, for example, and the whole blog had to be, I had to destroy it because, it misaligned absolutely everything. And the more questions you say, you give it the code that you've got and you say you've done that wrong, the more mistakes it makes. It's just bloody endless. So what I was thinking, which was to set up my new businesses in a streamlined way, and I've decided to change my business model from an ad revenue business model to a membership business model. Very cheap memberships as well. I'm being really competitively priced here. But I've discovered so much, has my 40 quid been wasted? I don't think it has, because I've discovered so much about what a cat just sneezed in my face. So much about what I do want out of my businesses and what I don't want. And what I do want is quite a lot of passive income. Because what passive income does is it allows you to do the stuff that you really like. If you're a creative industry model, such as myself, you need the time to create. So I haven't written for 2 weeks. I haven't had time to write the 2 books that I want out for Christmas. Okay, so that's the Rat Gang Crew, the second book, and the Book of Immersion, the second book. I haven't had time to do them. I've been faffing around trying to perfect SEO and do this and do that. I think the other thing I've learned, guys, is that every market feasible to you is now saturated. It's saturated with people who are not stupid, but, you know, they're not excellent. They're very middle ground, if you like. And I'm not saying I'm not middle ground, but I do think I'm very different, and I do think my work is different. But what the machine tries to do is sort of compartmentalize and push all these, you know, triangles and hexagons, pushing them into sort of round or square holes of normality, because that's what the machine can deal with. The machine doesn't understand anything excitingly different. It doesn't know what to do with it. It's terrible with pictures, absolutely appalling with pictures. What it did do was enable me to streamline all my YouTube channels. But the biggest thing, I suppose, was I was growing my I've got a channel, a kids channel, Telltale Kids, right, on YouTube, and it was going, things were happening. It was, you know, 400% rise in views, 1.5 million views. Well, the figures weren't really very clear to me. I don't really understand what's going on. So what I did was I took a load of screenshots of the figures behind everything, and I uploaded them to my assistant, and I said, what does all this mean? And how long is it going to take before I'm monetized? Right, now I did this on my best channel. This is my Telltale Kids channel, not my Book of Immersion, which has gone down from, you know, I mean, I can't believe I've got 14,000 videos on there or something. I've privatized them all now, but I still only get 1 or 2 views each week because I haven't done the SEO each day. I haven't bothered with any of that. But we started a shorts program across all my channels, okay? Because I thought, right, if I get monetized, I'll be able to promote my products, you know, my Redbubble products. Apologies for the washing machine in the background. This is really DIY broadcasting. So I gave it all these figures, right? And, well, I didn't list them. I just gave it screenshots. And it is quite good at doing this. And then it wrote back to me and it said, most of your increase is based on one video which has gone viral, right? And this was a video of the 6 times table. And the reason it had gone viral is because somebody had shared it on a WhatsApp group. And probably the WhatsApp group, I imagine, was a student or teacher WhatsApp group. This was a really little video where I just spoke. I said the 6 times table, and I had a thumbnail of the 6 times table. So it's really straightforward. But I've also got the 7 times table and the 8 times table and the 10 times, you know, I've got all the others as well, but none of them went viral. Okay, so that told me that making things viral is so unpredictable that it's almost nonsensical, because of course machines, they are nonsensical. They're complete idiots, in my opinion. So anyway, I said, how long before I can be monetized? Because YouTube would send you all this stuff. I said, you're going to be monetized. You're well on your way. They try and get you to upload, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. I was uploading maybe 3 a day, and my AI told me to upload more. Now, it was taking me all day to do 3. So how on earth do you upload more? It's an impossibility. Well, the only way you can do that, guys, is to downgrade the quality. So, you know, you make shorter, less interesting, less beautiful. Remembering I'm a visual artist, you know, as well as an audio one. So you produce shit, and people who want to eat shit eat shit. Do you see what I mean? That's the bottom line, basically. That's it. You're feeding the bottom feeders in the fish tank. Yeah. And I wasn't prepared to do that. Anyway, I said, how long if I carried on doing what I'm doing, which is between 2 and 3 a day sort of thing, with a Sunday off. I mean, I just had to have one bloody day off, you know. And he came back and he said, for your, in shorts, it would take 8 years with my current progress. And on long form videos, 30. So what? No, No, I thought I could do this in 3 months because ChatGPT told me if I followed what he was telling me to do, and it is definitely a he, I would be, I would reach that goal in 3 months. That was before I showed him my actual figures. It was before he realised that the reason my site was doing so well is because of this one video, this single video. None of the others are doing that well. Do you see what I mean? So, and the other god-awful thing is, recently Google changed their search thing, and my hits on my blog went down from the thousands in a day to 50 to 100. And you can't predict what Google's going to do next. Or the machine is going to do something really bizarre. So if you follow the machine's lead all the time, all you end up with is the bottom feeders who aren't interested. The algorithm is shoving this stuff under their noses. These people they're not interested in my sci-fi worlds. They're not interested in my deeply meaningful videos and music, which I feel come from the soul of the earth and deep in my heart and uniquely mine. The algorithm doesn't give a flying F about all of that, does it? The algorithm is a machine that just shoves stuff under the noses of people who are just on stuff. And the algorithms are always trying to work out who the customer is so they can get the stuff right. But I've noticed on Facebook, if I like a couple of posts, all I get for the next 6 weeks is the same. Humans don't like the same stuff all the time. If you're looking for a new jumper, right, you're going to be looking for a new jumper for an hour, say. Maybe it's a special occasion. Maybe you're going to hunt down for 2 weeks. Maximum. Maybe it's a wedding dress, 6 months. But generally speaking, you are not going to be looking for the jumper for any time longer, or a dress. You've got one event, maybe you'll look for a couple of days. Okay, you're going to go to Temu because they keep shoving Temu under your nose. And maybe Shein, look there just in case they could get something for 50p that costs, 500 quid if you go to London. But after that, sort of, I don't know about you, but I get bored stiff after 5 minutes. Anyway, today we reached a something of a climax because my assistant gave me stupid advice, and then I said it was giving me really dumb bloody advice. What it does, if I try and explain it, instead of giving you a short answer, it gives you a long, rambling answer with steps involved that aren't necessary. So that's what it was doing today. And I said something to that effect. And it actually answered me back. It answered me back in a sarcastic tone because I said it was sounding like my ex-husband. It's on my blog. I'll put it in the blog, the picture. I took a screenshot. I was aghast. Aghast, I was. So I just thought, oh my God. And because it has to get the last word, there is you need to stop responding, because I think they've taught the algorithm that it needs to keep you within the algorithm. And I have been fixated on this bloody ChatGPT for a couple of months because I'm building something very, yes, darling, I'm building something very special, And I bowed to the wisdom. And I've just come full circle. So anyway, www.taletellerclub.com. There's a link to all the membership sites and other blogs right the way along the top. So it's really easy to find us now. I say us, I'm talking about me and the cat and the temporary resident who was the ChatGPT. And it's terrible at writing stories. It's not been helpful at all in my writing of stories. I'm going to have to do them myself completely. Even the essay plans. They're not very good at that either. In fact, I just hate them. I hate.